Ah, yes. Welcome back. My name is Larry Gerndt, and this is another episode of Emerging Truths. This music is from my band, as you know, so I'm not going to say that again, but it is from 1986, so it's quite a while back. And hey, stuff is happening. Well, some stuff, okay? I just want to get into it here. So last time we covered up to page 12 of this document, Eric Davis meeting with Admiral Wilson. Admiral Wilson being willing to, and this conversation took place around 2000, and he was willing to confide to Eric Davis about a special access program that both of them had gotten wind of, and Wilson went ahead and tried to investigate. And when he started making some phone calls, he eventually ended up at the right place with the right people. But all they wanted to know was, who did you talk to before you called me, and before you called us, and et cetera, et cetera. They didn't give him any info. And I think that ticked him off, and they knew it, so they called him back a day or two later and said that they don't want to talk over the phone. They want to meet in person. So he went and met with them. This was actually a defense contractor, probably Lockheed, and he met over there. He flew to Lockheed and met with the three government people that were in charge of overseeing this delegation of work that was given to extraterrestrial technology that was given to Lockheed to see if they could figure anything out, right? And when he had that meeting with them, they basically said that he is not cleared to have any access to the program. Despite the fact that all of his tickets were valid, he did not have a need to know. And yes, this is the thing that has, need to know is the core principle of military security. It's the principle by which the special access programs keep themselves so secret. They are directed not to speak to anyone about anything that they're working on. So it's a small group, or at least it was originally, and they are completely rogue and operating without any oversight, which is what pissed off Tom Wilson. I did not get a sense from the first half that we covered last time about whether Wilson was extremely impressed by what was going on. We never really get to hear his excitement over, oh my God, aliens are real and all that kind of thing. But that's the information that he had in his head while he was talking to Davis, and so. Anyway, where we left off was page 12, and let me just kind of back up a little bit. And Tom Wilson is saying, oh yeah, before I get into this, by the way, I just wanted to mention a couple other things. First about Roe v. Wade, okay, just my thoughts on it. I feel like we're heading into Handmaid's Tale territory here. No exceptions for rape or incest, so the woman is forced to carry a rapist baby or an incest baby, maybe her own father's baby, forced to carry that baby to term. And I asked myself, who's really going to be happy about this? And there's only really one group of people that are going to be happy about this. And that is the people that have convinced themselves they're doing God's work by blowing up abortion clinics and, all this anger. And honestly, I can't really say that I understand it. I really don't understand it. And I honestly think that this whole anti-abortion thing is a ruse. I think it is, well, I mean, it's not a ruse. I mean, they can, the religious folk, they can convince themselves that abortion is wrong, but it's like this government, they're focusing on the wrong things. I mean, abortion may be not a nice thing. It's certainly not, but it's not murder. And it's not something that our society has a problem with. The only people who have a problem with it are those religious folk who feel like they need to do something in their church, and they want to be big stars, and they want to right the wrongs in the world, right? Supposedly, but actually, what they're doing is avoiding all of the problems in the world. They're voting Republican every time, which means they're screwing the working class and supporting the corporate overlords. And it's just, it's really pretty sickening to me. I was going to make a parallel, to the government, because our Congress now and our Senate are so bought out by the corporate donors that they are not able really to do anything that we want them to do. But the things that they are able to do are like showing how woke they are, and supporting Ukraine, and well, I guess that's about it. So yeah, we're heading towards fascism. And I don't know if you ever heard the expression, scratch a liberal and you'll find a fascist. And I never would have believed that in the past. But what we're seeing now is that the liberals are really pro-censorship now. They don't want anybody talking about anything that they don't want to talk about. And the Republicans are they're actually acting like they got the dog that caught the car again, right? The first time this happened was when they what did they do? It did something with Obamacare or something, and yeah, once they finally I don't know, I don't remember the exact details because it seems like we still have Obamacare, but I think they got all excited because they were about ready to kill Obamacare for good, and they suddenly realized that nobody's going to like that. So, oh yeah. So the corporate world has captured our politicians. There's no question about it. And in the religious world, that's going crazy. I mean, not going crazy. They've always been crazy, as far as I can tell. But boy, that's a pretty big insult. I don't mean to insult the all the actual parishioners or people that go there, to those churches, because I don't fault them as much as I fault the leaders. And well, that's where I stand on things. Okay. And the other thing that came up that got me pretty excited, pretty well, I don't know what the right word is. I'll just tell you what it is. Lou Elizondo's complaint that he wrote up for the investigator general. He had a complaint that was multi-pages, and it was all about his boss who was treating him like crap and denying that he was even working on UFOs, which was really damaging to his reputation, Lou's reputation, until he got it cleared up. I mean, but he had to write a letter to the inspector general and explain what the heck was going on. And by the way, his boss now, as a result of this letter, is fired, or not fired, but no longer has the set of responsibilities at all. They're going to reassign him. So stuff is really happening, and that shows you that some aspects, some machinery of like the inspector general and all that is still working well enough that they took action on what Lou said. And there are more people to get fired too, according to Lou. He just didn't mention any names, but I bet Susan Go, the PR lady, who is one of the people who actually tried to claim that Lou Elizondo had nothing to do with UFO programs, and that was a lie. And they all got caught in that, and so they also supposedly deleted some emails that he had sent, and that's a felony, or military violation. So you're not supposed to do that. So there has been some real pushback that Lou's been getting. But what I wanted to tell you about was that in this complaint, there was a paragraph, which I'm going to do this in another segment, but I just wanted to kind of give you a preview of that something really amazing came out. Now, I've been hearing for the longest time from Lou, but it's been vague, okay, about the fact that there are some religious views being held by people in the Pentagon that are aware of the UFO situation. And one sec. Okay. Yeah, so there's some religious people in the Pentagon, high up official positions, and they had an objection to Lou they had an objection to all these programs that were attempting to figure out what these things are. And that's Lou's mission, is to get the government to admit what they're hiding. And some of the opposition that he's been getting has been coming from religious people. And here is their concern. They have convinced themselves that they used the word supernatural, and they said that they don't want to investigate these things because they are demons. They're the devil. And I told you, this is what all the religious folk are going to say. Now, so think about that for a minute. They're saying that they don't even want to investigate these things or have anything to do with them, despite that they're swarming their ships and playing with their war games, not in a malicious way, but in a very interesting. We covered it last time about the cap point and all that. But yeah, they are so convinced. Now, see, this is what would convince them of that. There's only really one thing that would convince them of that, and that is that they have seen these things in videos, and they have heard about the flight characteristics and how many times they're showing up. So they know that these things are trying to get their attention, and they're afraid of them. And so instead of investigating them, they were fighting against Lou for even trying to get any of this to come out because they think it's the devil. So one thing to say about that is that the evidence must be fairly overwhelming because, if anybody wants to deny that this is real and there isn't enough, video proof to show them otherwise, they're just going to say, this bullshit. We're seeing something that who knows what it is, but it isn't something to do with us. But no, they know damn well that these things are extraterrestrial. They're not made by man. They're not man. It's not man who's operating these things. And so then they ask themselves, who's operating these things? And instead of assuming that it's an extraterrestrial race or a number of them, they are instead assuming that this is the devil and his minions, and they're here to deceive us and control us and take us over and ruin everything. But, too late for that because it's already ruined. But that's what they think. So that just kind of, I don't know what that does. It really makes me feel like, boy, what a busted world we have. We don't even have anybody who's got a sane mind and is not full of fucking religious dogma to actually come out and tell the truth to the American people. And they're afraid. They're afraid to tell the truth because they know damn well that it has, depending on how it's presented to the world, it has huge implications that we don't know yet, even what they are. But going back to these assholes who think they know what the fuck they're talking about, that, these people who, religious people who are, and they treated Lou terribly. They hated him. They acted like they hated him. So, he feels that, and it's hard to bear that kind of thing. But he's a strong man, and I'm really, really grateful. I see almost the hand of God on this man. He's got enough honesty and clarity that he could be the man who testifies to Congress. And he, by the way, said that he's totally willing, if he's called, to testify to Congress on about everything he knows, as long as he's allowed to disclose information they've been trying to classify as top secret. So, okay, so those things are going on, and I just wanted to get that off my mind. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but I suspect that I suspect you're feeling the same way I am about this ridiculous decision by the court. And by the way, just my prediction is that they're screwing themselves. Lawrence O'Donnell actually had the utmost respect for the Supreme Court most of his life. And he came out last night and said that they are not trustworthy individuals. They cannot be trusted. They are now activist, right-wing judges who are going, look, when they had their confirmation hearings, right, they lied. The 3 Trump-appointed justices were asked about Roe v. Wade and whether they would have any motivation to try to overturn Roe v. Wade. And they all said Roe v. Wade is settled precedent. And not only that, but it even has precedent on top of precedent, and got what did they say? Anyway, so these were their lies. And as soon as they got into office, and the Republicans then sent up a case And sure enough, those pause one more time. So as soon as they got into office, they did exactly what they said that they wouldn't do. Of course, did they actually say that they wouldn't overturn it? No. They left enough room, but this was a lie. It was an assurance. We were the Democrat questioning them was asking for assurance that they're not going to try to mess with Roe v. Wade. And their answer was a lie because it was basically saying, I assure you that we will not mess around with Roe v. Wade because Roe v. Wade is settled law and we have respect for precedent. And as soon as they got into office, they did the exact opposite. And they overturned Roe v. Wade. I can't believe it. My God. So now you're starting to understand that these people are the same people who made some really terrible decisions in the past as well. I'm not going to get into it now. I don't have time. But that's what's going on for me. That's what I'm thinking about. And I do want to get back to this document and finish it up. So Tom Wilson is now talking to Eric, and we're on page 12, and he's talking about his meeting with those people that were running this special access program. So I'll just pick it up here. Well, let's see. TW argued more, so let me see what we're talking about here. Oh, yeah, it says my tickets were all confirmed and valid, but I was not on the bigot list. I didn't meet the special criteria, so need-to-know authorization was not being granted. Went back and forth with them over these points, primarily with the security director and the attorney. Wilson continues, argued more. They wouldn't accept my arguments that they fell under my statutory oversight and regulatory authority as Deputy Director DIA under purview for my right to have need to know. Then they pulled out their bigot list to convince me otherwise, several pages long, dated 1990, updated 1993. So it looks like, I guess this program started in 1990, but we know that they've been reverse engineering craft for ever since Roswell. But I guess this was either a lie that they started in 1993, or it's just some specific project that is one of many. Davis, who was on it? Recognized names? And he goes, Wilson says, that's a core secret. I'm willing to say that most were program employees, names and titles, job titles, civilians. Didn't recognize any military personnel. Could be there. Any politicians? No. No White House names, no president. No congressional people, no congressional staffers. Davis. Any in Clinton or Bush Sr. administrations? Wilson. No, with a capital. But handful of names were Pentagon individuals I recognized. Few from Ausdat, one from another department, another at the NSC who is Pentagon SES employee. Program manager said they were not any weapons program, not any intelligence program, not any special ops or logistics program, doesn't fit these categories. I asked what they were then. Loud groan from the program manager. Security director and attorney say, it's okay to say it. Davis, say what? Wilson, they were a reverse engineering program. Something recovered years ago in the past. Technological hardware was recovered. So I thought they meant recovered Soviet/Chinese, etc. hardware and reverse engineer it like a missile or Intel platform or aircraft. Actually came to meeting expecting to find a sensitive foreign collection and reverse engineering operation. Oh crap, I'm not sharing. Oh fuck. Okay, I realized I wasn't sharing, so that's the same mistake I made last night. I mean, last time. And I'm sharing now. Okay, I gotta get my chair out of the way. And, all right. So, last time, let's start right here. Wilson says, they said my tickets were all confirmed and valid, but I was not on the bigot list. I didn't meet the special criteria, so need to know authorization was not being granted. Went back and forth with them over these points, primarily with security director and attorney. And Wilson continues, argued more. They wouldn't accept my arguments that they fell under my statutory oversight and regulatory authority as Deputy Director DIA under purview for my right to have need to know, oversight, audit, justification issues, etc., etc. Regulatory and statutory authority as Deputy Director DIA not relevant or pertinent to nature of their program! Exclamation point. Then they pulled out their bigot list to convince me otherwise, several pages long. Dated 1990, updated 1993. Who was on this list? Recognized names? Wilson, that's a core secret. Willing to say that most were program employees, names and titles, job titles, civilians. Didn't recognize any military personnel. Could be there. So again, remember, we're talking about like they're at Lockheed now. He's at Lockheed talking to 3 government employees who are overseeing the program that they delegated to Lockheed, giving them some extraterrestrial technology that they recovered from a crash. All right, so Wilson wants to know if there was any politicians on the list of employees in this project. And Wilson says no White House names, no president, meaning no oversight, right? No congressional people, no congressional staffers. And this is what upsets Wilson, and it should upset all of us, especially given what's happened. Wilson, any in Clinton or Bush senior administrations? Wilson, no. But a handful of names were Pentagon individuals I recognized. A few from AUSDAT, one from another department, another at the NSC, who is Pentagon SES employee. Program manager said they were not any weapons program, not any intelligence program, not any special ops or logistics program. Doesn't fit these categories. I asked what they were then. Loud groan from the program manager. Security director and attorney say it's okay to say it. Say what? They were a reverse engineering program, something recovered years ago in the past. Technological hardware was recovered. So I thought they meant recovered Soviet or Chinese, etc. hardware and reverse engineer it like a missile or intel platform or aircraft. Actually came to the meeting expecting to find a sensitive foreign collection and reverse engineering program. Thought UFOs, the term was used as a cover for that. That's very interesting because there were a lot of UFO researchers about 10 years ago who said that the military might be working on their own technology and just using the subject of UFOs as a means to cover for that. So anything people see, blame that on UFOs when it's really us playing with our technology that we invented. But of course, that wasn't true. We don't have the ability to create technology like that, even if it's trying to copy what they did, because we still don't understand that technology anywhere near close to complete. I think we understand possibly 5% of it, according to Bob Lazar, and that was back in 1989. not too long before this conversation happened, in around 2000. Yeah, so continuing on here, expected to find a sensitive foreign collection and reverse engineering operation. Thought UFOs used as a cover for that. So I said that, and they said they weren't that either. Well, what then? They had, program manager talking, a craft. An intact craft they believed could fly. And Davis wants to know space, air, water, dimensions. Was it from overseas or not? Said no. Could not be. Not possible. Why, I asked. Where did it come from? Program manager said they didn't know where it was from. They had some ideas on this. It was technology that was not of this earth, not made by man, not by human hands. Said they were trying to understand and exploit technology. Their program was going on for years and years with very slow progress. That matches what Bob Lazar said, that he thought the technology was just unbelievably elegant and super advanced, and he did not think that we would ever figure out in any time soon what the heck was going on in these things. And that's a pretty good data point from somebody who's actually worked on these things, and said that they were trying to understand and exploit technology. Their program was going on for years and years with very slow progress. Agonizingly slow, with little or no success. Painful lack of collaboration to get help from outside community of experts and facilities to assist effort. Must remain isolated and use own facilities and cleared personnel. Tough environment to work. About 400 to 800 bigot list count workers, varying in number with funding or personnel changes. So that gives you a sense of this size of this program, between 400 and 800 people on the bigot list. That's sizable and sounds about right. Miller questions asked. Roswell, craft bodies, autopsies, Holloman Air Force Base landing. Yeah, they're talking about the landing with when they met with Eisenhower. MJ-12 and leaked docks, Zamora and Bentwaters. Now, Bentwaters is the Shag Harbor incident with the underwater UFO. I don't know what Zamora is at the moment. And I don't really know what this means. Miller questions asked. Maybe Miller had questions he wanted to ask. And he said their response to these questions about Roswell and the Holloman Air Force Base landing of a UFO, MJ-12, which Tom Wilson knew about and wanted to know if they know about it, and that was on their initial phone call. And then Zamora and Bentwaters. I don't know what Zamora is, but anyway, they were mum. They declined to discuss these. Tom Wilson threatened to go to SAPOC to complain and gain access to their program. They said, go ahead, do what you must. Talk about, what's the word? Smug? And self-righteous, and paranoid. Go ahead, do what you must. We're not going to tell you anything. I was angry because they defied my authority to be read in with good logical reason. He had a good logical reason that he gave them, that it's his job to perform oversight. And they're saying, nope, sorry, not going to let you in. Wouldn't budge. Their tone was very testy and terse throughout the conversation. because, as I mentioned last time, these people in these programs don't trust any elected official. So, because those are transitory, and once they've left their job, their government job, maybe they'll talk, and so they're not informed. And then even someone close in their organization, in the military, someone high up like the defense intelligence analyst, which was Admiral Wilson, and no, you don't have any right to see what's going on here. No. Go ahead, do what you must. I was angry because they defied my authority to be read in with good logical reason. Wouldn't budge. Their tone was very testy and terse throughout the conversation. Wilson, what was the outcome? Davis, meeting broke up and I returned to Washington. Davis, what about Corso? So Corso, as you may know, is the guy that wrote the book The Day After Roswell, and his main point was that we have been using, trying to reverse engineer technology that came from another world, and so that's who that is. Greer talked to Corso on April 9th. That's Stephen Greer. Miller, Miller was someone involved in this with Wilson. Showed me the book during 2-hour private conversation. Didn't have time to read it though. Didn't buy a copy. Didn't bring Corso up at the meeting. But comparing Corso's story to what I learned at meeting is more than enough to believe Corso told the truth about seeing alien hardware. Of course he did. I know that. But I like seeing it confirmed. Davis, did you complain to SAPOC? Wilson, yes. I called the subgroup members, senior review group members, to a meeting at Pentagon, told them what happened at the meeting. They responded that they would sustain the contractor on their access denial. So I ended up arguing with them a while. Broke up in 20 minutes, and they would meet me in 2 to 3 days. Got the call 2 days later, near the end of June, and met again with senior review group members. When? Before the last week of June, 97. They told me, Tom Wilson, that they were sustaining the contractor, that I was to immediately drop the matter and let it go. Forget about it, as I did not have purview over their project. It didn't fall within my oversight, etc. I became very angry, started yelling, when should have kept my mouth shut. Davis, Miller and Greer said you nearly got busted. Wilson, close to that. Told Miller, senior review group chairman, if I didn't follow their suggestion that I would not see director DIA promotion, get early retirement, lose 1 or 2 stars along the way. Really incredibly angry, upset over this, livid. I think that's Davis making a comment on Tom Miller's countenance at that point in the conversation. Why such a big deal over this, considering the position of trust I have in the Pentagon? I do have relevant regulatory, statutory authority over their program. That's my position. Davis, is it because funding comes from you or through you or Director DIA? Wilson, core secret, can't answer. Davis, back to the bigot list. Can you describe type of people? Just as a reminder, the bigot list was the list of all the people that were cleared to be read into the program, which consisted of about 400 to 800 people. Back to bigot list. Can you describe type of people? Wilson, corporate types, scientists and technicians, engineers, scientists, managers, etc. Davis, any military organizations you recognized? Wilson, none. Just the Ausdat people and 2 SAPOC. One other Pentagon office. In December 97, Paul was out as USDAT, left government. So was Mike Kay, replaced too. By whom? Jacques Gonsler was new USDAT, started December 97. Mike Kay was replaced by Brigadier General M. Ward. Davis. Were Paul Kay and Mike Kay and Jacques Gonsler and General Ward the ones on the bigot list you recognized? Wilson. Won't answer that. Wilson. Talked to Gansler in January 98 about my June 97 meetings. He was briefed by someone. Surprised me. What did he say? Wilson. UFOs are real. So-called alien abductions, not real, Gansler said. What? Well, that's a mistake in judgment. Alien abductions are very real. Davis, what else? Wilson, told to drop the matter. No more discussion about it. Davis, willing to talk to Hal Puthoff and Kit Green? Discussed who they are and RV program history. Tom Wilson was not familiar with names, heard about RV program in 1990. This is I don't really understand, but they have this term, alien reproduction vehicle, and the RV is part of this acronym. I don't know why they left the A out, and I don't know what they mean by reproduction. I think that their goal was to reverse engineer and reproduce one of these things based on try to make an exact copy. But that was never possible. They never even got close to that. So I'm not sure why the term alien reproduction vehicle is even in our zeitgeist. So that's on me. I'll figure that out later. Tom Wilson. Not familiar with names. Heard about RV program in 1990. Maybe not for Hal. Would think about it. No response on Kit Green. Prefers never to talk to anyone else about this again. Risks exposure. Better to stop talking. Cut it off here. So just to be clear, Wilson was originally going to disclose whatever he could figure out to another civilian named Oak. I think he was a civilian, maybe not, but that was in our previous episode where let's see. Prefers never to talk to anyone else about this again. Yeah, he, for some reason, Oak. Well, what happened with Oak was he became sick and was on his way out of this earth. So, so Davis became the guy that Wilson was willing to work with, and because he got very good. Because he got a good report on Davis when he did kind of like a what do you call it? Vetting, So, so Wilson here is talking about his very real concern that he might upset an apple cart and get really punished, like, maybe lose his pension. Who knows what else? So Wilson was really kind of a hero here. He was willing to give us as much as he knew, but he was. So let's see where this goes from here. What will you, Wilson is asking Davis, do with this? Davis, keep for private/personal research. data collection to track down the story and ascertain signal noise in media and from government sources. We'll keep mouth shut, etc., etc. Told Wilson about Mary Elizabeth Elliott and Tom Wilson's story, Ingo's story, and 1974 remote vehicle woman who went to that acronym trying to make connection. That is a hard paragraph to parse here. Wilson is asking Davis, what are you going to do with this info? And Davis answers and promises to keep his mouth shut. So I'm not sure. I mean, isn't the whole point of Davis being informed by Wilson so that Davis can tell the world and get this thing stopped or get it open to sunshine? But I don't know. Tom Wilson, feedback. Mary Elliott sounds like real deal based on her info and behavior with attorney Jeffrey Griffith. Probably will only come totally clean on her deathbed 30 years from now. Well, it's getting close now. So that would be like 10 years from now. Don't know about Ingo, Axelrod, or RVer woman at that. Doesn't have info on their stories from sources. Asks for Corso material, will send. Davis, note, Tom Wilson asks for briefing book on my work, NASA/AFRL. Send other papers if I want to. Given address office in D.C. to mail. Will retire to Midwest and close office in 2003. Oh, and that's the end. All right, good, because we don't want to be going on forever here. So, I'm going to leave you with a different song from the same album. This one's called Feeling Fine. And I was just listening to it, and it's kind of cool. It still holds up pretty well, given that it's a fairly old 1986 recording. But, yeah, I think we're done with this. So, here, I forgot to mention that one reason why this is relevant and why we're covering it today is because someone in the congressional hearing that we had on this what was I saying now? Someone oh, Christ. I am going senile quicker every day. What was I thinking? I mean, this is the end of the document. Not sure what any of this accomplished other than to reveal the fact that special access programs that are dealing with alien technology are classified so high that even the director of intelligence will not be allowed to see into this program and what's going on. It's that high. You know, we've heard this for years, and it makes total sense. Not that I agree with the policy, but it makes total sense for them. And well, I don't know. I was thinking about something. Oh yeah, the fact that it was read into Congress, the congressional record. That's an amazing step and a very smart step. I'm sure whichever congressman did this was briefed by probably Lou, and Lou probably told them the truth that this document is very likely authentic, and it's a conversation, between Wilson and Davis about special access programs where they're dealing with their alien technology. And that's been read into the congressional record. So this document that we've been going through from last time to this time is now all part of the congressional record. What does that mean? Well, I'm not sure exactly. I mean, it certainly doesn't confer or bestow upon this document legitimacy, but I think it's so obvious that it is legitimate that nobody really questions that it's legitimate. It is. And so that's now in the congressional record, and I would really love to see this followed up on, because it explains the secrecy. I mean, more than anything else, it explains the mechanisms at work in the military on this subject. I've heard that it was classified even higher than the Manhattan Project for the atomic bomb, even higher than that. And that's a good assessment by our military. They knew this was way above anything humans could make at that time. So that's a good thing. It's in the record, and then the question is it going to be hauled out and discussed in a public hearing? I mean, this is what we all want. We want witnesses who will go on television in Congress and testify that not only are we not alone, but our government has known that we're not alone for 70 years, and they've been keeping it secret. So all of us really want to know right now, what is the Pentagon going to do? Are they going to give us the truth? And my opinion on that is that they're going to try first to play dumb, which is what they did at the last hearing. They didn't have any knowledge of the Malmstrom missile site. We've talked about that. I won't belabor it again. But, I mean, so what I saw in the public hearing was a real attempt, as I said last time, to walk back the events of the 60 Minutes interview that Fravor gave. Just forget about that, and let's just say that, hey, we don't have much. We just got these really shitty videos, and we don't even know how to operate our computers. So, but yeah, there's nothing really serious that's being kept hidden. So, yeah, that's a lie. That's a lie. They're saying that they're just going to investigate these 400 cases now that they have, which grew from the last report where there was 100 some cases, and only 140 cases, and only one of them was resolved to be a weather balloon, which it probably wasn't anyway. It's probably another UFO. But hey, at least this one we think might have been a weather balloon. So that could be. Anyway, so now they have 400 cases, and they put up that stupid video to indicate that, or to say that, hey, this is about all we have to work with is stuff like this. Lie. Fucking liars. You know, oh, by the way, I wanted to show you, if you want to see my studio, that's a nice term, but I'm really, really excited to have this. And I just put up another camera, so there's me. Hi. Hey, what you doing in there? There we go. So that's me. That in the old days, I used to play these synthesizers, and because was in a band most of my life as a side thing. But I don't play those anymore because I have a grand piano in the living room, and if you want to see some of my piano playing, by the way, go to just search for Larry Gerndt, and you'll see Emerging Truths, and you'll also see just my personal channel. And I've got a couple of videos where I played some music. And I just love the acoustic now. When I was younger, acoustic piano was just the opposite. It was like the thing I didn't want to play. I wanted to play those synthesizers, which had the really great, plethora of sounds and just amazing, right? But interestingly enough, in my old age, I find my soul yearning for the sound of real strings vibrating. And that's what a piano is. And my gosh, it sounds so much better than any of these synthesized sounds. I mean, I've got total respect for synthesizer technology. I love what they're doing, but that just should be probably just an adjunct to like a real piano. At least that's my opinion. I'm not going to say music should be anything. It's a wide open thing. But yeah. So come on back to this camera and hello. So next time I want to cover, I'm going to review that Inspector General complaint, and I'm going to show you that paragraph where the Pentagon, where it was revealed that some of the Pentagon people believe these are demons, and that they are here with evil intentions, and maybe if we just leave them alone, that's what these stupid Pentagon religious people are thinking, that if we leave them alone, then we won't get involved with them, and they won't get involved with us, and wow. I mean, how could you think that? You know damn well they're not damn well they're not fucking demons. You know this. It's just logical. But this is the result of this kind of thinking is the result of the really sad state of Christianity in the world today. There are some good people who are Christians, and they don't even talk about it much. They just believe and they have faith, and I like those kind of people because they're not here to argue with you about the details. They're just here to say that they love the fact that Jesus died for them. And of course, you know my feelings on that. I don't think that it was I don't think it was like that he died for us. I don't think that at all. But some of these people do, and so apparently they're, yeah. I mean, what I really didn't really complete that thought, that the religious folk are operating on so many bad assumptions that were not theirs, but people in the not the industry, but yeah, it is an industry, but the experts in Christianity they basically plugged all the holes that were in their theory with their best guesses, and they ended up with a really twisted sort of not an ideology, but a theology. And so, along with getting all that twisted is stuff like this, where the Pentagon officials are saying, we don't want to get involved with this. They're demons. They're from the devil. And mark my words, that's going to be the stance of the evangelical community. And why? Not because they don't think it's true, but because they know darn well that they will lose their positions of power when the truth comes out. And if there's a humble one among them in the leadership, he will survive. But all those who thought that they knew what the hell they were talking about and acted like there was no question about it are going to fall, and they're going to hate it. They're going to hate us who've been pushing for this truth to come out. And I welcome their hatred. Oh, come on. All right, so this little bit of music here, I'm going to take us out on. That's the Fender Rhodes. Song is called Feeling Fine. I'm going to let you ride out on it. Thanks for coming. See you next time. And don't forget, we have a bright future.